Connor, McKinnon, Walker, ETN, Pickens, McLaurin need 2 plus 2 flex, full PPR. Man, okay, so James Conner right now, he gets a really tough matchup against Denver, but he handles so much work. And it's hard for you to say he's not going to do well. No, James Conner finishes the running back 5 last week against an extremely difficult New England defense. 15 for 85, 6 receptions for 29 yards. You are starting James Conner no matter what. Okay. So you're starting James Conner. You're really not starting Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, okay, there are two options, and it's going to fall down from there. Kenneth Walker plays. Kenneth Walker doesn't play. Kenneth Walker doesn't play, obviously you're not playing him. But if he plays, there's also two ways in which it could fall. He could play full complement. He could not play full complement. We don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows about Kenneth Walker because the ankle injury is concerning for me. If you like my content, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. It really, really helps the channel. It's also that this matchup is extremely, extremely difficult. The San Francisco 49ers allow the fewest fantasy points to the running back position. So there's already a cap ceiling. They are the second toughest rush DVOA per Football Outsiders. And the San Francisco 49ers have a PF projected 56% rush block advantage over the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. So if Kenneth Walker is limited in any way, this could be an absolute floor game and destroy you. That's a problem. So if I'm picking 2 running backs out of this group, right, it's not going to be Walker. And then the real concern too is that, yes, Walker has a bad matchup, but so does Travis Etienne. The Dallas Cowboys give up the 4th fewest fantasy points to the running back position. They are the 6th toughest at DVOA, in the DVOA metric per Football Outsiders. And the Dallas Cowboys have a 48% run block advantage over the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line per PFF. It's an extremely negative matchup. I just roll the dice with the running back 1 from this past week, and that's Jerick McKinnon. And right now, Jerick McKinnon is the running back 38 in consensus on Fantasy Pros. Make it make sense to me. He just finished as the running back 1. He finished as the running back 16 last week in a half PPR. Yes, it's only 14 rush attempts over the last 2 weeks, but he's had 73 rushing yards during that time, 11 targets, 9 receptions, total receiving yards, 121. He's had 3 touchdowns during that span, and Houston gives up the most fantasy points to the running back position. This is about matchup and one game at a time, Brixico. So I would go with Connor and McKinnon if I were picking running backs. And then if I had to pick a wide receiver here, McLaurin, okay? But if I needed to pick 4, I would go Connor, McKinnon, McLaurin, and then I would go with, it comes down to Pickens or ETN for me, right? Is the difference between Pickens going to be enough? Because it's Pittsburgh versus Carolina, which is going to be a low over under. I don't know the exact number, but I would imagine that it's 38 to 40. Okay. It's not going to be a very high over under, but Pickens has an individual matchup this week. He's projected by PFF to run the majority of his routes against Henderson, CJ Henderson of the Carolina Panthers, and he's projected to have a 74% advantage. Okay, so the way PFF does the wide receiver cornerback matchups is 0% to 100%, and 50% is like an average matchup, like it could go either way, like whatever. 74% advantage is a pretty good one. It's respectable, right? The majority of the advantage is going to go towards George Pickens in his matchup against Henderson that PFF projects. So I don't know if that's going to be enough to get you to Travis Etienne volume, though, right? Because George Pickens, right, over the last few weeks, like he has 5 targets over the last 2 weeks. That volume is not going to get it done. It's the volume argument for Etienne at this point, because Etienne, even though he has an extremely difficult matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, he had 17 carries against Tennessee, and he had 16 total touches against Detroit. So I think I'm going Connor, McKinnon, Etienne, and McLaurin if I'm picking 4 there, Brixico. Yeah, that's been tough. That Etienne and Walker have been really, really disappointing this year, or at least over the last couple games, mostly due to the injuries that they've been recovering from.